Hello food fans, it's Lucien here and welcome back to Back in Time to Cook. As you can see, this blog post is in a video format because I thought it would be fun if I showed you our collection of cookbooks. It's a small collection but it is slowly growing, and I thought it might be interesting for you to see what we use to cook with on a weekly basis. I'm going to start off with kids cookbooks. First off we have this one, Cooking Step by Step. We really like kids cookbooks, partly because we have DID and that means there are a lot of younger members of the system, but also our autism means reading large blocks of text is quite difficult. It's a lot easier to follow visual instructions. As you can see, this book is filled with visual instructions. All the ingredients are even pictured, as well as nice big images showing you how to make each dish. We haven't used this one as much, but there are some great recipes in this book. This next book is similar to the last one, but it focuses on Italian food. It's called The Silver Spoon for Children, the children's version of the adult book, The Silver Spoon. This one, instead of lots of photos, has illustrations and they are beautiful. Each recipe is tasty and simple to make, and it shows you how to make all your favourite Italian food from all your favourite Italian restaurants. Fresh pasta dough, spaghetti with tomato sauce, baked aubergine with tomato, a personal favourite of mine. Who doesn't love aubergine? Now, the next two books are both inspired by fictional bears, the first one being Winnie the Pooh. This book is actually from the 1970s. It even says in the front, October 1972, to Pooh from Tiv for fun. I don't know who Pooh was, but I hope they're still alive and I hope they're having a nice life. There was lots of very simple recipes, including many made with honey, as well as dishes for expeditions and for a cosy tea on a rainy day. This book is inspired by the other famous fictional bear, and that is Paddington. I love this book. So not only are the recipes very simple, with nice images, but there is also bits of story for you to read as you bake, giving context to all the recipes. Here you can see it says, summer is a time for picnics, and by general agreement, once Paddington had completed his cookery course in Mrs. Bird's kitchens, the rest of the family turned to him for advice. So it's a bit of a story to make the cookbook make sense. Paddington is learning to cook from Mrs. Bird throughout the book, and he has completed the course here. There are some nice birthday recipes for a birthday party towards the end. And it even tells you all about the party and the story behind all the recipes. Now, these next cookbooks are actually our historical cookbooks, which is why we started this blog in the first place. The first one is this really small leaflet called Wartime Cookery to Save Fuel and Food Value, issued in the National Food Campaign Exhibition 1940. Now, this is one of our only World War II cookbooks that's in physical format. The rest are on Kindle, and we have quite a few on Kindle. I like this one because they made a real effort to make it look authentic, including even pretend rust stains from staples, which I think is funny. Although, sadly, they didn't make them align with the actual staples. There's lots of really easy, simple recipes in here, which use, as expected, wartime rationing amounts and ingredients. This book is from even earlier. Well, not actually, but it's a reprint of a book from even earlier. The Great War Cookbook by May Byron, and this has World War I recipes. There is lots of recipes in here. The recipes we've made from this book so far have been bacon pie and macaroni pudding, but there are lots of other recipes we are very keen to try. And some we are less keen to try, such as lamb's head stew. I'm not going to be buying a lamb's head anytime soon. This book, again, based on an even earlier era to the last one, and it is Jane Austen's Table. These are modernised versions of Regency recipes mentioned in Jane Austen's book, or in social history about Jane Austen, for example, recipes found where she used to live. It is a beautiful looking book, and it has lots of different recipes based on characters or people from Jane's life. We have made only one recipe from this book so far, but we intend to make more. There is a roast pheasant recipe, which I'll not be making anytime soon because I'm rich enough to buy pheasant and roast it. Just for one person, it would seem silly. This book goes back to the 20th century, and it is the Call the Midwife cookbook. The official one makes 50s and 60s recipes. This cookbook is not my favourite because it has typos in it. The scones recipe has an error, and the cherry slab recipe does not have a picture of cherry slab next to it, but of a different cake entirely, which I think is weird. But it does have lots of pretty Call the Midwife pictures. And we have made quite a few recipes, including, there's a macaroni pudding in this too, some behind the scenes, as well as some history. So despite the mistakes, it is a nice book. These last two cookbooks are not vintage, but I think they're supposed to have a retro vibe. They're actually, according to the publication inside, from 2013, but I think they're supposed to have a retro feel. Home baking biscuits and cookies, and home baking cakes and bakes. They are the classic sort of twee housewife style book. There's even, let me find it, pictures of a stylised 1950s woman. Haha. Because that's exactly what you should look like while you're making these recipes. Despite the a bit tweeness, they do have some very good recipes for lots of very basic cakes and biscuits. Now, the rest of our cookbook collection is on Kindle. We have the IWM's World War II cookbook, as well as a couple of other World War II cookbooks, including my personal favourite, a cookbook which is a collection of all the Ministry of Food leaflets from the war. Loads of recipes, including how to use up food, how to make food go further, and how to make food with lacking ingredients. We also have a couple of Victorian cookbooks, including Cooking for the Working Classes. Given we're on minimum wage, it is useful. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you again, food fans, for our next blog post. Bye!